Oh baby, oh baby. Bl'Artagnan here, with one last Kaiser Behemoth Lufenia run. I'm not sure if this is actually going to be my last run of this, because I am enjoying it. But it's the last idea I've had recently. You'll notice two of the characters here are probably familiar. You've seen me take Garland and Y'shtola through the stage a bunch already. They're both really useful here. The third member, though, was an idea I've been kind of knocking around since I saw the premise for this fight. And that's to bring Gilgamesh. Which is a bit silly. Gilgamesh is not a unit you normally think of when you think Lufenia. Still doesn't have his LD, and I can only assume when they give him his LD it's going to be a joke. Bit of a joke character, although I do love him dearly. My thinking here, though, was I needed access to a physical damage dealer, or no, well, not physical damage, a physical unit with, reasonably frequent delays. And I know Camelot works for that, but I said to myself, Gilgamesh delays on his EX. I wonder if he'd work there. And it turns out, well, okay, I'm not going to say he was integral to this. I'm sure there are a bunch of better characters I could have brought to this. But I was actually pleasantly surprised at his contributions here. Part of this is actually a mistake on my part. I thought his EX charged in one skill use, not two. Otherwise, Camelot, I think, worked just as well as Gilgamesh does. Actually, probably better, honestly. Although the splash is nice just for helping kind of chip down the wall mannequin. There we go. The EX. Oh, you probably noticed with Y'shtola, it's the usual thing where basically I'm either using stone on the mannequin to delay it, or using Medica to just kind of delay my turns. I used Arciela call at the beginning, her regular call, to HP silence the mannequin for 2 turns to buy some time, which is why I was able to get away with letting it act a couple times. That's a very useful piece of tech that you should keep in mind. HP silencing that guy for 2 turns is real nice, and the magic calls don't proc the counter from the Behemoth, which is really useful, good to keep in mind. So now, I'm very pointedly bringing Friend Garland in place of Y'shtola, because I wanted to show that Gilgamesh has at least one kind of funny, unique use here. In addition to his delay, as you saw, he can apply a 1-turn melee imperil, which means Garland's going to be hitting weakness damage, at least until it cleanses, at which point we can reapply it because it's part of his basic Brave attack, Kotetsu. When I actually didn't think about that when I brought this because Gilgamesh is a meme unit who I love, and I thought his EX would be useful. And I thought maybe, who knows, maybe I'll get a lucky paralyze on the wall on the War of Light mannequin when I need it at some point. Who knows? So it was really a pleasant surprise when I was like, wait a second, he has a melee imperil. In hindsight, I don't actually know if that's necessary with Garland BT effect in play. If I go back and watch like some of the other videos or something, it's entirely possible that like Garland with the BT in play already is hitting for max Brave damage. But the novelty of it tickled my fancy enough that I wanted to call it out. Because you could, I guess theoretically Orin also delays on his EX, though I don't have it at the moment. So you probably could do something similar with Orin, but once again, if we're being honest with ourselves, we are bringing Garland to the Kaiser Behemoth Lufenia raid, so we basically can bring whoever we want here. But the idea of Gilgamesh having a use in this fight really entertained me, so I wanted to mention it. So you'll see here, this was actually a bit of a botched burst in my opinion. I was doing the 0 turn thing I mentioned. I forgot to use his AA beforehand to battery his EX. And I remember spending the rest of the burst phase thinking I goofed up. I goofed it up. It was all ruined. In hindsight, I don't know if it was actually that bad. But yeah, try to use the AA before the burst phase. because the higher his brave level going into the burst, the more damage he can get out of his EX, assuming you're going to start with the EX. If I don't know, if you happen to have LD'd the turn before and can use a free skill, then, you know, if you want to spam 3 round edges or something, that's your business. That is more delays AoE, so there are uses for that. But yeah, that was kind of my thinking there. So now Y'shtola's back in, which means we're summoning. Behemoth is 50% left, although he's already healed once, so like in terms of kind of the actual like closeness to the end of the fight, we're actually more like 2/3 of the way through. And probably even close to the end now, if you think about it, because now we're engaging the burst effects and really kind of going into overdrive. Shout out to Ga-Metal, by the way, or Ga-Metal, I'm not sure, Ga-Metal, for this fantastic Battle on the Big Bridge cover. That's another reason I want to do this, is because I've been dying to use this music for a video. If you enjoy this cover, I strongly recommend checking out the link in the description I'll include to his channel. You know, it's kind of funny. The first run I did with Y'shtola in this fight, I kind of did it as a bit of a joke to myself. Well, part joke and part like, well, I need a delayer. I wonder if this will work. And she's become... I'm not 100% on this, but she might be the unit I've used the most in this stage, which is kind of crazy given that, you know, I have Garland, I have Lightning. Like, I should be using those two to carry units through, and I keep going back to Y'shtola for this fight. It might be just some kind of like, you know, trying to go off the beaten path kind of thing, but she's been really useful. Even like the turn stalling stuff for like stalling out the red aura and stuff. Not that it matters at this stage because we're using 3 delay characters and, you know, it's almost dead, but just to continue to be pleasantly surprised by how good she is. Or at least how useful she is, I should say. And speaking of useful, Gilgamesh here putting in continued work with his like 70k a turn damage output. Yeesh. Well, at least he has that melee imperil that is helping Garland hit max damage even without his burst effect. So, go ahead and point that out. Think of them apples. At some point during the course of the fight, I realized that it was probably better to have a speed down on the boss than an attack down, so I also used his Genji Blade attack somewhere in there, but all of his attacks, all of his basic attacks kind of, you know, they're all just variations of slash katana, so I can't tell you exactly which one it was. I just remember realizing, like, oh, I have attack down in from the bronze, I should replace that with the speed down. That makes a whole lot more sense. Finally realizing that I have a bunch of Scion Holies used, or to use. This was definitely more of a you know, Garland still being Garland showcase here than anything else, but being able to bring Gilgamesh kind of tickled my jimmies or whatever. I don't know. It tickled my fancy. That's the word. Jesus, that sounded wrong otherwise. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider liking, subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.